Hi everyone, it's Refresh, and I am here to bring you a battle between two Rivals of Ixalan sealed decks and the Battle the Horde challenge deck from Born of the Gods. We'll be playing two games on normal and difficult mode, and for these games, the Rivals of Ixalan sealed decks will be using the Harvester, which will allow them to draw a card and then discard a card each turn. The Explorer, which will allow them to play 2 lands on each turn. And the Vanquisher, which will start them with 1 card, and then they will be able to have a maximum hand size of 8. Let's see what we have for our opening hands. The cards. Naya has a Plains, Filled Deathspitter, Snapping Sailback, Stormfleet Swashbuckler, Mountain, Forest, and Hardy Veteran. I believe that's worth taking. 8 cards. Grixis has an Island, Depth of Desire, Mountain, Island, Swamp, Island, and Mutiny. This is quite a terrible hand because it's almost all lands and 2 non-creature spells, so we'll go ahead and ship this for a new hand. Because this is multiplayer, we'll go back up to 8. Grixis has an Island, a Swaggering Corsair, a Nebraska Raptor, a Sun-Collared Raptor, a Tali Primal Storm, Traveler's Amulet, Swaggering Corsair, and Sun-Collared Raptor. It's short on lands, but the Traveler's Amulet will help us to get to 2, and then the looting should help us get to the rest of the lands that we need. So we'll go ahead and start with this. We're going to be playing on normal difficulty, so we'll have 3 turns before the Horde starts charging in. Turn number 1, we'll play the Mountain and the Forest here, and then we will play a Hardy Veteran for Naya. For Grixis, we'll play the Island, we'll tap it, we'll play the Traveler's Amulet, and then we will pass turn. At the end of the turn, we will use the Harvester, and Naya will draw another Forest. Grixis will draw a Fiery Cannonade. In this case, I believe the Sun-Collared Raptors might be the weakest of the bunch, so we'll go ahead and discard one of those for Grixis. And Naya will discard the Plains, because we don't need the Luminous Bonds that are in this deck for this particular battle. We'll go to our second turn, untap, draw. Naya draws another Forest. Grixis draws a Depth of Desire, and now Grixis is in real need of lands. Naya will go ahead and play both of their forests. Grixis will tap their island to sacrifice their Traveler's Amulet to go find a mountain and then put it in their hand. We'll reshuffle. And then we'll play the island. Naya will attack with her Hardy Veteran for 2. We will mill 2 cards, a Minotaur Younghorn and a Minotaur Younghorn. And then we will play a Frilled Deathspitter. And then we will end our turn. At the end of the turn, we're going to use the Harvester again. Naya draws a Jungleborn Pioneer, and Grixis draws a Mountain. We're definitely keeping the Mountain, and so we will discard the Depth of Desire because it seems to be too limited to 1 target, and Naya will discard the Jungleborn Pioneer in this case. We'll untap for the 3rd turn. Draw. Naya draws a Luminous Bonds. Grixis draws an Island. We will play the Mountain and the Island for Grixis. And we will play the Forest for Naya. We will attack with the Frilled Deathspitter and the Hardy Veteran for 5. That has defeated 2 Phoberos Reavers, a Minotaur Goreseeker, an Intervention of Piranhas, and a Plunder Statue. When Plunder Statue is put into a graveyard from anywhere, each player will draw a card. So we will draw a card each. Naya draws a Forest. Grixis draws a Kitesail Corsair. Naya will play the 2nd Forest this turn, and then we'll pass turn. Grixis will play the Nebraska Raptor, and then we'll also pass turn. It is now the Horde's first turn, so they'll play their top 3 cards. The first being a Phoberos Reaver, the second being a Minotaur Younghorn, and the third being a Minotaur Younghorn. All 3 of these will attack, and now Naya will flash in the Snapping Sailback to block the Phoberos Reaver, and the Nebraska Raptor will block a Minotaur Younghorn. That will kill these 2, and we will take 2 damage to go to 18. The Snapping Sailback will become enraged, and we'll put a +1/+1 counter on it. And then we will end the Horde's turn. At the end of the turn, we're going to use the Harvester. Naya will draw a Raging Swordtooth and discard the Luminous Bonds. Grixis will draw a Sea Legs and discard the Sea Legs. We'll untap, draw. Naya draws a Crash the Ramparts. Grixis draws a Hornswoggle, and then we'll go on the attack again. Frilled Deathspitter and Hardy Veteran and the Araska Raptor will attack for 8 damage. Alright, we've discarded the Minotaur Goreseeker, Vitality Self, Goreseeker, Intervention of Karanos, Goreseeker, Consuming Rage, Minotaur Younghorn, and Reckless Minotaur. When the Vitality Self is put into a graveyard from anywhere, each player returns a creature card from his or her graveyard to the battlefield. We'll return the Jungleborn Pioneer to the battlefield. When the Jungleborn Pioneer enters the battlefield, we'll create a 1/1 blue Merfolk creature token with hexproof. We will put the Sun-Colored Raptor onto the battlefield. And then on the second main phase, we'll play the Stormfleet Swashbuckler. And we have 10 permanents, so we will gain Ascend, giving the Stormfleet Swashbuckler double strike. On the second main phase here, we'll play a Swaggering Corsair, and it has Raid. It enters the battlefield with a +1/+1 counter. Alright, and now we will pass the turn to the Horde. The Horde will cast the top 3 cards, a Minotaur Goreseeker, a Reckless Minotaur, and a Mogus Chosen, which enters the battlefield tapped. The Minotaur Younghorn is attacked. Will be attacked by the Younghorn, the Reckless Minotaur, and the Minotaur Goreseeker. The Minotaur Goreseeker will be blocked by the Snapping Sailback. The Minotaur Younghorn will be blocked by the Stormfleet Swashbuckler. We will not block the Reckless Minotaur. These two will die. First strike will kill the Minotaur Younghorn, and then the Snapping Sailback will kill the Minotaur Goreseeker. We will take 4 from the Reckless Minotaur to go to 14. The Snapping Sailback will become enraged and will get another counter. The Reckless Minotaur will die at the end of combat. Now it's end step, we'll go ahead and use the Harvester. Naya draws a Luminous Bonds and immediately discards that. Grixis draws a Soul of the Rapids and immediately discards that. We'll untap. We'll draw. Naya draws a Plains. Grixis draws a Windstrider. We will attack with the Frilled Deathspitter, the Hardy Veteran, the Stormfleet Swashbuckler, the Merfolk, the Jungleborn Pioneer, the Araska Raptor, the Sun-Colored Raptor, and the Swaggering Corsair for 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19 damage. Alright, we have discarded a Descend Upon the Prey, Touch of the Horn God, 2 Minotaur Younghorns, a Refreshing Elixir. As we discard the Refreshing Elixir, we will gain 10 life and go to 24. Mogus is chosen times 2. Minotaur Goreseeker, Minotaur Younghorn, Reckless Minotaur, Unquenchable Fury, Altar of Mogus. When it is put into the graveyard, we will sacrifice 2 Minotaurs for the Horde. Mogus is chosen, Unquenchable Fury, Minotaur Goreseeker, Phobos Reaver, Consuming Rage, Phobos Reaver, and Mogus Chosen, which was sacrificed by that effect of the Altar of Mogus. And then on the second main phase, we'll play the Raging Swordtooth, which will deal 1 damage to each creature. That will kill the single Merfolk, as well as playing the Swaggering Corsair. And because we attacked with a creature this turn, we will give it a +1/+1 counter when it enters the battlefield. And then we will pass to the Horde. The Horde will play 3 spells. A Minotaur Goreseeker, a Minotaur Younghorn, and a Minotaur Younghorn. These will all go in the attack. The Goreseeker will be blocked by the Snapping Sailback, the Younghorn will be blocked by the Swordtooth, and the other Younghorn will be blocked by the Swordtooth. All 3 will die. The Sailback will become enraged and gain another counter. And then at the end of the turn, we're going to use the Harvester again. Naya draws a Fanatical Firebrand. Grixis draws a Mountain. We'll discard the Hornswoggle for Grixis, and we'll discard the Plains for Naya. Now we'll untap. We'll draw. Naya draws a Fathomfleet Firebrand. Grixis draws a Swamp. Grixis will play the Mountain and the Swamp. Naya will play the Fanatical Firebrand, which enters with haste, and then we will attack with everything for 34 damage. That is everything that the Horde has, and so even before resolving the effects of the discarded the Rivals of Ixalan deck, the Rivals of Ixalan sealed decks will win the day. We'll be right back for Game 2. For Game 2, we'll be playing in difficult mode with only 2 turns before the Horde attacks. We'll go ahead and start drawing 8 cards. Naya has a Pounce, Colossal Dreadmaw, Araska Raptor, Raging Swordtooth, Luminous Spawns, Snapping Sailback, Stone Quarry, and Mountain. This is a little short on green lands, and there are a few spells here, Pounce and Luminous Spawns, that aren't as good, so we'll go ahead and discard this and go for a mulligan. Because this is multiplayer, we'll draw back up to 8. We have a Mountain, Rekindling Phoenix, Forest, Thematic Compass, Mutiny, Mountain, Forest, and Raging Swordtooth. Even though we're a little bit short on playables, we'll go ahead and keep this hand. Grixis has a Kitesail Corsair, Fire Cannon Blast, Island, Italy Primal Storm, Sun-Colored Raptor, Mutiny, Nest Robber, and Mountain. I think this is worth keeping as well, even though we're short on lands. We'll make it work. Alright, turn 1. Naya will play a Mountain and a Forest, and then we'll play the Thematic Compass. Grixis will play an Island and a Mountain, and we'll play the Nest Robber. And we'll attack with the Nest Robber right away for 2 damage. 2 miniature Younghorns go to the graveyard. At the end of the turn, we'll use the Harvester. Naya will draw a Fathom Fleet Firebrand. Grixis will draw a Swamp. We'll keep the Swamp and we'll discard the Mutiny. We will keep the Fathom Fleet Firebrand and we'll discard the Mutiny. Alright, we'll untap. We'll draw. Naya draws a Mountain. Grixis draws a Marauding Looter. We will go ahead and play the Swamp and a Mountain and a Forest here. Naya will play a Rekindling Phoenix. Grixis will attack with the Nest Robber for 2. There's 2 more creatures that are down. And then on the second main phase, Grixis will play a Kitesail Corsair. And then Rivals of Ixalan sealed decks will pass turn to the Horde. The Horde will play 3 cards. We have a Minotaur Younghorn, a Minotaur Goreseeker, and a Plundered Statue. The Plundered Statue at the beginning of the Horde's pre-combat main phase reveal an additional card from the top of the Horde's library. The Horde casts that card, so there'll be 4 cards the next turn, unless we can get rid of it somehow. We'll be attacked by the Goreseeker and the Younghorn. We will block the Younghorn with the Rekindling Phoenix and take 3 from the Goreseeker, going down to 17. And then at the end of the turn, we will use the Harvester. Naya will draw a Plains. Grixis will draw a Mountain. We will discard the Sun-Colored Raptor, and then we will discard the Plains. And then we will untap. We'll draw. Naya draws a Mountain. Grixis draws a Sailor of Means. We will play both Mountains. We'll play a Mountain over here. We will attack with the Nest Robber and the Kitesail Corsair, as well as the Rekindling Phoenix for 8 damage. Plundered Statue will cause us to draw a card each. That's a Forest here, and a Deadeye Brawler there. The Massacre Totem will cause the Horde to put 7 more cards from their top of the deck into their graveyard. The Refreshing Elixir will cause the Rivals of Ixalan sealed decks to gain 10 life, taking us up to 27, and all of these will get discarded. On the second main phase, Grixis will cast the Deadeye Brawler, and Naya will cast a Fathom Fleet Firebrand. And then we will pass the turn to the Horde. The Horde will untap, and we'll play the top 4 cards. We have a Fulberous Reaver, a Refreshing Elixir, a Consuming Rage, and a Fulberous Reaver. Consuming Rage says whenever a Minotaur attacks this turn, it gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Destroy that creature at the end of combat. We're going to be attacked by 2 Fulberous Reavers and the Minotaur Goreseeker. The Fulberous Reavers are 4 3s, and the Goreseeker is a 5/2. We will not block any of them, and we will take 13 damage, going down to 14, and then each of these Minotaurs will be destroyed at the end of the turn. At the end of the turn, we'll use the thematic compass to search out a forest, put that in our hand. And then we will use the harvester. Naya will draw a Guildgrove Stalker. Grixis will draw a Arguel's Bloodfast. We will discard Arguel's Bloodfast, and we will discard Guildgrove Stalker. And then we'll untap, draw. Naya draws a Colossal Dreadmaw. Grixis draws a Sea Legs. We will play both forests. We'll attack with everybody. And that is 6 plus 6 for 12 damage. No artifacts were discarded. The second main phase, play a Colossal Dreadmaw and a Marauding Looter. At the beginning of your end step, if you attack with a creature this turn, you may draw a card. If you do discard a card, Marauding Looter will take effect. We'll go ahead and draw the card. We've drawn a mountain, and we will discard a Sea Legs. Then we'll pass the turn to the Horde. They will now play 5 cards on their turn. A Mogus Chosen, which enters the battlefield tapped. Minotaur Younghorn, Phobos Reaver, Reckless Minotaur, and Minotaur Younghorn. We're getting attacked by all of these creatures. The Phobos Reaver will run into the Colossal Dreadmaw. The Minotaur Younghorn will run into the Marauding Looter. We'll take 6 damage and go to 8, and then the Phobos Reaver and the Minotaur Younghorn will perish. We will use the Harvester at the end of the turn. Naya draws a Filled Death Spitter. Grixis draws a Fiery Cannonade. The Reckless Minotaur dies at the end of their turn. We will discard the Filled Death Spitter here, and we will discard the Fire Cannon Blast here. We'll untap. But this should have transformed at the end of the last end step because of the number of lands. It is now Spires of Orazca. We'll draw. Naya draws a Luminous Bonds. Grixis draws a Sailor of Means. Grixis will play their Mountain, and then we will play a Sailor of Means, which will give us a treasure token, and then will give us the City's Blessing, and then we will attack with everybody but the Colossal Dreadmaw. And the Sailor of Means, of course. And that will do 16 damage. Of all of these, there is one artifact, and that is the Altar of Mogus, which will cause the Horde to discard 2 Minotaurs, or sacrifice 2 Minotaurs. And on the second main phase, we will tap both of these, sacrifice the treasure for a blue mana to play another Sailors of Means, and that will give us another treasure, and then we'll pass the turn to the Horde. The Horde will play 5 cards and cast them. There's only one, it's the Phobos Reaper. It will attack, it will run into the Colossal Dreadmaw's Waiting Jaws and perish, and the Horde will be defeated. And that is the end of that. The Rivals of Ixalan decks had a pretty good go. They were very aggressive and they got there to the end. Let me know what you thought about the games. If you had any questions about anything that you saw, hit like if you enjoyed this video, hit subscribe if you'd like to see further videos. The next video we'll be putting up will be these Rivals of Ixalan sealed decks going up against the Defeat a God challenge deck from Journey into Nyx. Until then, this was Refresh. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.